Good evening, friends, and welcome again to the Thursday evening satsang. Uh, encourage you all to turn on your cameras if you like to. If you want to come, that would be nice to see everyone on the screen. So, my name is Brahmachari Devendra, and I do satsang here for our Pune group once in a while, whenever Zinia asks me. So, today our satsang, as usual, is from Bhagavad Gita. And today I have taken the chapter 6 from Bhagavad Gita. This is something very interesting, and the chapter name is True Yoga. That chapter 6 from Bhagavad Gita, the name of the chapter is True Yoga. And there are about, I think, 46, 47 verses or sutras in this chapter. And in this chapter, just to give you an overview, Krishna is talking about a lot of different things, but mostly focusing on yoga. He talks about what is renunciation, a lot of variety of things. He talks about what is renunciation, how do you control senses, how do you concentrate, how do you practice moderation, a lot of different things. He is talking about the lower self, the higher self. And this is the chapter also where Yogananda ji he often takes one of the verses and he often mentions that. I hope you remember that. What is that verse? If you listen to his talks, he says this verse quite often. He says that he who watches me always, I watch him always. He never loses sight of me, I never lose sight of him. This is the verse which Yogananda ji quite often mentions in his talks. But I'm not going to take this verse, but I'm going to take some other verse from Bhagavad Gita. That verse is number 30 from chapter 6. What I have taken is number 33 and 34 from chapter 6. So I will read that, the slokas here, and then we will have some inspiration from Yogananda ji's teachings. And in this chapter also here, the slokas, let's just read it first. Arjuna said, O Madhusudan, Krishna, owing to my restlessness, I have achieved no lasting results in the attempts you have taught me to steady the mind. Verily, Arjuna continued, the mind is restless, tumultuous, powerfully stubborn, O Krishna. I consider it to be as difficult as to master the wind. I'll just read it again quickly. Arjuna said, O Madhusudan, Krishna, owing to my restlessness, I have achieved no lasting results in the attempts you have taught me to steady the mind. Verily, Arjuna continued, the mind is restless, tumultuous, powerfully stubborn. O Krishna, I consider it to be as difficult as to master the wind. So this is the shloka where, one of the famous shlokas where Arjuna says the mind is difficult as to control the wind. And so it goes on, the shloka goes on, but basically what Arjuna is saying, he complains what I think most devotee would complain. He says two things. One, why the spiritual path, why finding God is so difficult. And number two, he says why it takes so much time to get the result, to find God. Why it is so difficult and why it takes so much time. And so this is something which I think we all go through, we all think about it, why it takes so much time, why God takes so much time. But first of all, when Arjuna is talking about the wind, a very interesting story from Yogananda ji's life, that probably we have seen that movie, that The Answer, where, and you must have read that story also in Conversation with Yogananda, where Master wanted to go out, Yogananda ji wanted to go out for a drive. Oliver Black comes and he says, raining, we can't go out. But then he says, well, Master has said, let me just go out. He comes out, the rain has stopped. There is no rain. The wind has stopped, the rain has stopped. There is no rain, completely dry. All of a sudden, what does it show? It shows that a master has perfect control over the wind, over the rain, over everything. How does he, why does he, or how does he have that power? Because it's very simple, because they have controlled the inner winds of the mind, which is restless. When they have perfected that, they get the ability, they get the power to control anything they want in this world. There's another story which you'll find probably, this is from my recollection, I didn't see in the book, but where in conversation with Yogananda, I think that there's a big storm in America when Yoganandaji was there. And Master said that this storm is because of the negative thoughts of the people in this world. That is what is causing. But then he said, we can stop it, we can control it. And he chants some mantra. He chants some mantra, he takes his shoes and he hits on the wall for three, 4 times. And the storm stops completely. There is no wind, there is no storm, it stops completely. And so this tells us that yes, the wind, the inner mind, the thoughts are difficult to control. But when we do that, it gives us tremendous power, tremendous ability to do anything we want to do in life. Of course, in attunement with God. Of course, Master did not do anything which God didn't want him to do. And in case of Oliver Black, I think Master wanted to give him more faith. Probably in that example, Master wanted to infuse in Oliver Black that if I say something, do it. Don't even think about it, and it will be all fine. And so Oliver Black, he did it. He just came out and he saw everything is fine. And so that's the power of the Guru, that when Master is asking, when the Guru is asking, we must have faith, we must have trust, and we must do it without even thinking, without even blinking about it. So here, then another story is there that one devotee asked Yogananda ji that why think that Master was Arjuna, he's asking Krishna or Babaji. And now in this life, another devotee asked Master Yogananda ji that says why it is so difficult to find God. And Master says, but when he comes, that is what makes it so beautiful. That is what makes it so sweet. And that makes it even more sweeter when it finally comes. And that's how Master answered that devotee's question. Swamiji asked Master, same question which Master asked Krishna, have I been your disciple? Have I been on this path for long? And Master said, yes. And Swamiji said, has it been long? And Master said, yes, it has been long. And Swamiji then asked further, does it always take that long? And Master said, yes, desires for name, fame, and for worldly things, it takes disciples away from the Guru many times. And so we see that this is a quite normal thing that happens. The mind is restless. It takes long time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a long time to really control ourselves. But Krishna says in the next stanzas, he says, it's possible. It's possible to achieve that we can control our mind perfectly. So Krishna talks about what are the difficulties that is faced by the devotees. And so one thing he says, and I think we all have seen that, he says that first when devotees come on the spiritual path, we meditate a little bit. We begin to meditate a little bit. When I came on the path, I learned everything what Master has taught here. In the beginning, I was practicing. But I will find that 1 week I'll meditate very nicely. And next week I'll find that I have a difficult time in meditating, just in 1 week. And next week I have a restless mind. I have even not wanting to meditate sometimes. That resistance will come from inside. And I think that happens with everyone, that we all go through, that we become restless, that we find there is a resistance from inside, not even wanting to meditate. We drag our feet to our meditation asana to just to meditate, just to sit down. And so that happens, this is quite normal, and that this happens with everyone. So don't think that if this is happening with me, this is something unusual. No, this happens with everyone. This happens with all the devotees, those who begin to start to meditate, because ego puts a big resistance, and it says that I don't want even you to sit even still. I'll make your body restless. You can't even sit. And so ego puts a lot of resistance even to just sit to meditate, just to sit down, to sit still. And so Master, as Krishna says, those, and many people leave. Many people, after trying meditation for 1, 2 months, 3 months, they find it's difficult and they leave. And what do they do then? Krishna says that they go back to the things where they started. They think that, let me try what I was doing before. Let me try to find happiness. Let me try to find joy in the worldly things what I was doing before. Maybe I will be successful this time. And so they return to the things what they were doing before. They stop meditating. I see a lot of time when people come here to learn Kriya Yoga, 1, 2 months, everybody is very excited. Yes, yes, yes. After 2, 3 months, then they say, then they see that, oh, I have to put a lot of effort. I have to discipline myself. I have to meditate morning and evening. And then they begin to discourage. I've seen a lot of people leaving just because of that. They see that I have to discipline a lot myself. This path is not just about listening a talk. This path is more about practicing meditation morning and evening. We have to discipline ourselves. But yes, we all go through difficult time, and that's why we have satsangs. That's why we have group meditation. Just the other day, I was leading one Kriyavan meditation, and we played some chant, couple of chants I played here in that group. And then later on, as the meditation finished, it was 2-hour meditation, one devotee, and she messaged that, thank you for the chants, that chant, I was really restless today, and I didn't think that I will be able to meditate even. But the chant had the power. I was able to sit down and meditate for almost 2 hours. I just couldn't believe. And so this is the power in the chants, that when we feel restless, take chant. Take simple chants, of course, from our line, from our gurus, and chant that chant. Master said that chanting is half the battle. It will help us to calm down. It will help us to meditate and go deeper. Listen the recordings of Swamiji, listen the recording of Yogananda ji, and it will help. So don't leave the practice just because we are restless, just because you are restless. So here, that another thing that very interesting thing, that another way to look the spiritual path, the whole spiritual path. One devotee, she took meditation. This is Yoganandaji's time. And she said that, Master, I'm very restless. I cannot meditate. I'm trying very hard. But I'm very restless. What do I do? And Master said, you serve my work and I will meditate for you. Wow, that's very interesting that Master said you serve because you are trying. Master didn't say that. She tried, of course. She tried very hard, but she said that I can't. I'm very restless. And Master said, you serve my work and I will meditate for you. And our path, as you know, as we all know, it's a balance of service and meditation. But again, we don't want to forget the power of the Guru, that when we serve, when we are serving with heart, with the devotion, Gurus also give their blessings on our meditation. We will be successful. There's another story that Master said that you serve and I will give you a lot of my good karmas. He told some of the disciples, some of the devotees, he said that you serve and I will give you a lot of my good karmas that will help you. And so why we are here in the spiritual path? Because of course we have, those of you who are here practicing Kriya, it's a lot of good karmas that we are able to practice Kriya. But again, a good karma has the purpose to take us to the God, to God. That is the only purpose of karma. And Master said that when you lack that good karma, I will give you from my own good karma. That will take you to the kingdom of God. That will take you to God. And so there is another thing. We don't know how these things work. But we have to put our own effort sincerely, as best as we can. Then Krishna talks about the second level of people who put a lot of effort in meditating, in disciplining themselves, and they have reached to some state. They have made a lot of progress, but these you can call as a middle level of the devotees. They haven't reached the full realization, but they're in the middle. But here, Krishna says that what happens? Why do these devotees leave? And Krishna says, because doubts assails them. Doubts come into their mind. And it tells them, am I progressing? Am I having any realization so far? I have meditated for 10 years, 15 years. Have I gained anything so far? And so the doubt, which Krishna says in another chapter in Bhagavad Gita, he says is the most, is the biggest problem for the devotee. And so begin to have the doubts that am I really progressing? Am I making really right effort? Have I come closer to God? All these kinds of things begin to come. This happened another story that Yogananda ji, it's written in the conversations, I think, where one of the advanced devotee of Yogananda ji, he says that, Master, I have to leave. I have to go. Maya comes, karma comes, doubts come. He says, Master, I have to leave. I have to go. And so Master said, don't leave, and he was a very advanced disciple. He had made a lot of progress. And Master said, if you leave, it will take you 200 incarnations to come back to this point where you are right now. 200 lifetimes, that's a lot. But he said that, but if you continue, you may finish. You will find God in 3 lifetimes. That's so close. 3 lifetimes is so close. But he didn't listen. The karma was so strong. The doubts were so strong, and he left. And finally, he came back after some time and he was crying. He said, Master, why did I leave? And Master said, didn't I tell you not to leave? But he had gone too far into the world that he could not even come back. And this is where the power of satsang is here. That can save us. That when we have doubts, when we have negative, dark thoughts, and it can happen with everyone. The more we progress on the spiritual path, the more these power of Maya, the more doubts, negative things, all these things come to divert us, to say that, hey, you did enough, stop it now. Go back to the world, what you were doing before. And so these are the levels of the devotees. Then third thing which Krishna says here, third level of devotees, he says that they are all almost perfect. They are very close to the goal, and they can reach the goal anytime. But they have just slowed down a little bit. But they are far advanced devotees, probably the devotees at the level of Ram Gopal Majumdar, or devotees at the level of Swami Padmananda, who at the final moment, who went to Lahiri Mahashaya, says, please help me, that I have done all my effort, but your blessing is needed now. You have to help me. And so that's where I think these final level of devotees are there. I wanted to close actually here a very nice lines, I will say, which we want to meditate on. This is on page number 283 from Bhagavad Gita. This is the comfort for the devotees. Here Krishna says, one should live more wholeheartedly right now, enjoying his yoga practice, thinking of this moment, not of the future, but simply loving God in the present and offering oneself up to the Lord without any expectation of a reward. You should remind yourself, indeed, that there is no you to be rewarded. The chief reason people get discouraged in their expectations of a specific result. Learn to expect nothing. Is it not joy enough to be at least seeking Him and not running ceaselessly towards mirage images that, as you know full well, will evaporate even as you approach them? So this line, that last line here, learn to expect nothing. Is it not joy enough to be at least seeking Him? That again, one of the things from Bhagavad Gita, that how do we do that? How do we practice that, even not expecting the result, and yet we are making the effort without expecting the result? So let's keep this thought in our mind. Let's try to practice that. Even sometime our meditation is not going well, even sometimes we are restless, but let's try to keep moving. Let's try to keep meditating. Let's try to keep serving the gurus also. Let's try to make a balance of meditation and service on this path. So